Shabbat Shalom. Today, June 27th, we wish a very happy birthday to Charles Bronfman, who turns 84 today. Bronfman is a generous philanthropist who is one of the principal donors to the Birthright Israel program. The Birthright program provides a free educational travel experience to Israel for young Jewish adults. Since 1999, the program has sent more than 340,000 young Jews from around the world on a 10-day free trip to Israel. Through the Birthright Israel program and other charitable endeavors, Mr. Bronfman has had a positive impact on the Jewish community worldwide. Bronfman's philanthropic efforts, and in light of the Jewish Federation of Greater Orlando nearing the end of its annual campaign, gives us a good reason to talk about philanthropy, specifically Jewish American philanthropy. What does it mean for Jewish Americans to be involved in Jewish philanthropy, specifically the Federation system in the 21st century? The Jewish Federations of North America, or JFNA, is the second largest philanthropic network in the nation and the largest faith-based philanthropic network in North America. Among all philanthropic networks, the United Way is the largest. A quick internet search of the Federation system shows that Jews are fulfilling the JFNA's core goals of tzedakah, Torah, and tikkun olam, or charity and social justice, Jewish learning, and repairing the world within the context of American democracy. The Federation system functions within a unique socio-cultural, religious, and political context. While the concept of philanthropy is not unique to the United States, it was in Alexis de Tocqueville's 1835 two-volume work, Democracy in America. Tocqueville explained how philanthropy was central to American democracy. He wrote that our culture was unique because of Americans' high participation rate in voluntary associations. As Tocqueville saw it, voluntary associations were private initiatives that existed for the public good, focusing on quality of life. And he found the number, quality, and high participation level in voluntary associations to be a distinguishing characteristic of American culture that permeated American life. Philanthropy provided a means for Americans to address public concerns. Therein lies the problem. Democracy translates into rule by the people, literally mob rule. For pure democracy to happen, the entire mob must agree to how it will be ruled. In truth, though, the only way for pure democracy to work is to suppress minority voices. After all, the only way for people to rule together and to achieve consensus is to either ensure that everyone has the same thoughts and beliefs, or else to suppress the views of those who disagree with the majority view. Ultimately, a respect for minority voices helps maintain stable societies. Without that respect, minorities might revolt. Consequently, democratic values are practiced through a combination of majority rule and respect for minority voices because pure democracy is impossible. How are these ideas connected to the Federation system? Because the JFNA is a role model as North America's largest faith-based philanthropy, doing its work in a nation that prides itself on philanthropy as a key distinguishing characteristic of its democracy. Democracies are messy because the purer they are, the greater the diversity of voices. Any organization will function more smoothly if there are fewer decision makers and when diverse voices are denied a place at the table. Decision-making is even easier when the decision-makers are more similar than they are different. The smaller the number of decision-makers and the more similar they are to one another in their viewpoints, the more likely that decisions that are supported by the group as a whole will more easily get made. If persons are excluded from decision-making because they fail to meet some group-defined qualifications, then the small, homogeneous entity can readily justify why it is and should be both small and homogeneous. Yet study after study has shown that the Jewish with success. The entire nation, even the world, looks to the Federation system because, as Tocqueville noticed over 175 years ago, philanthropy and democracy defines American culture. In the 21st century, the Federation system's only hope is to embrace diversity and democracy, even though, from both the outside and from within, efforts at inclusion, as evidenced in the national and local federations' efforts to be inclusive across generations and economic circumstances, may be perceived as messy and without direction. Add to the mix emerging questions over the modern meaning of Torah, tzedakah, and tikkun olam, and we realize that the 21st century federation system can only be what it is and should be: democratic, philanthropic, and Jewish. From a broader perspective, though, it is important to ask, why is charity considered the greatest of all mitzvahs? The answer, according to Malki Janowski, very few mitzvot a person does require the investiture of one's entire being. You eat kosher with your mouth, learn Torah with your head, and light Shabbat candles with your hands. Even those commandments which engulf the entire body, such as sitting in a sukkah, do not involve a person's total talents and efforts as well. Humans possess an inherent drive to live and to live well. This urge manifests itself in working to achieve the desired level of comfort. The majority of people spend most of their day toiling to earn money in order to maintain or better their standard of living. When a person sets aside a portion of that money and gives it away to charity, he is not sanctifying merely his food or some other possession or his mental capabilities. He is giving up something in which he invested his whole self for God's sake. That's an unbelievable feat, and that's what you accomplish every time you give tzedakah. My remarks today are not to suggest that you do or don't give to the Federation. Rather, in celebration of Charles Bronfman's birthday and the nearing close of the Jewish Federation of Greater Orlando's annual campaign, give us an opportunity to reflect on how different we are when we give. Some of us have the means to give big, to give programs that have a big impact, such as Charles Bronfman, while others among us contribute far smaller amounts to the Federation, knowing that this Jewish organization and other Jewish organizations will find consensus among its diversity in a democratic fashion to do good in our community, or as Tocqueville suggests,